Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have the second part of this computer from the Nissan that the first four components that I used, they were defective, so I quickly order some more. I have now, I ordered 8. Again, these are not very common to fail, so I order 8. For some reason I only received 7, but hopefully these are good. It's a sealed package. They come usually in a real, in a tape, real kind of packaging. Is very normal. I already removed the old one from the board, so I'm gonna have 2 here. Gonna stick from there, resin. But yeah, as you can see, these are the ones that I saved. I threw away the other ones, at least to show that it's been going on. All right, so let's put these on. And you got to be careful when you're dealing with this. Try to use a static strap if you are working on an air conditioning room. We're right now in heater. Depends on when you're wearing. You might get static electricity, and you don't want to damage any of the ICs because of that. Just a heads up on that. I'm not going to put a very long video on this. I don't think it's necessary. You already, for those that wants to see the first part, I will put a link in the description so you can see that. I'm going to try to get this as quick as possible ready, and I'm going to be not having matched cameras for this, but again, if you want to see the process of removing install, it's definitely just going to be on that first part. I am doing this for my records and for the customer's records, so he can see his board working, because that will be based on my warranty. I will test the computer to work in here, get communication. This is a dead no communication computer. I'm just right now quickly going to clean the path. This has a big ground pad in the center, and then just the ones on the side for all the connections. And I'm just going to smooth them out as good as possible. You want to always use flux when you're doing this, and gotta be careful, make sure it's in the right temperature when you're removing, because you can really pull the tabs or the pads pretty easy, especially the ones on the side. There's some that are not going to be used. Not every single one that you see, even though they're populated on the board, they usually don't go to every single, or they're not being used, sorry. All right, so let's put this with the right orientation. We're gonna have pin 1 with a kind of like a shaft corner on one side. And what I like to do is get it as close as possible to the position that I want, and then secure the 4 corners. That looks pretty good in there. Sometimes it's hard to do the 4 corners because of the pad on the ground. So if you can, then just do the corners you can. I mean, you can come with the iron in here and kind of like touch up the pads are enough to hold the IC. That's actually pretty good. Then you want to come with a hotter station, and then just apply heat. You're gonna see the flux melting around. Go over the sides, try to go gentle first. You don't want to apply 800 degrees or so at the IC right away, so you want to go hit the board around. Make sure you will see the soldering around in the cabs, or any resistance you have around, melting. And then you can come closer to the chip that you're installing, and then just apply a little bit of a pressure down. Don't go gorilla on it, just make sure it's pushing all the center pad down. That's your main ground. you will see that it's seating, and then that's it. You take that heat away. It takes like 2-3 seconds to cool down. It's pretty quick. It dissipates, the board dissipates the heat super fast. And then what I like to usually do is apply flux again on the sides. And then just take my soldering. Make sure your iron tip is always clean when you're doing this. And you're gonna apply a bubble on the one end. Yeah, I know it looks like a lot, but then you're just going to move it. The heat is going to transfer to your iron, and that's why you want to, you want to come and just grab it. Usually the last two kind of try to stay shorted, so just make sure that you come again with a clean tip on your iron and just grab it. I just did that and it worked out perfect. This side is a little tricky because of the position of the board, and I have the cables, even though they're not connected to my testing equipment yet. Don't work with anything connected because you might short out the board. Remember that irons apply a little bit of electricity. It's just the way they are, so just make sure you don't short your board. I'm going to do the same thing, so I'm going to apply a ball of solder on the first one, and then just move it back to all my pins. Clean the iron tip again, and try to get those last two. It's very common that the last two try to, especially when you're in a tight spot like that, they try to stay shorted. And that's why you also need to use the wick. It's just your best friend to get that extra out. You don't want to take complete everything because then the solder will be out. The pad will not be soldered. Let me apply a little bit of a flux, giving me a little bit of a headache on this corner. It's early in the morning, so my pulse is not the best either. Alright, that looks good. Again, before I clean it, I let it cool down a little bit. I like to come, then get a little closer with the microscope. I need to lower this down. Get it in focus. I like to get as close as I can with the microscope. Take the tweezer and then just poke each leg, gently. You don't have to go gorilla. Just make sure every single one is, and I can see I have some shorter ones in here. You see, that's why it's so important to come close, because otherwise you will not notice that, and you're going to leave shorted pins, and that will damage the IC. Alright, so I got, like 5 in there that were shorted. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, same thing on this side. I got 2 shorted. Actually 4. You can just come with the hot iron. When you clean it, usually it will suck. This has a hollow point. It's an angle one, but it has a hollow point that will try to suck that extra solder. And otherwise, what you can also do is try to pull it up on the same leg of the IC and not on the where you need to solder. Like that, you can just grab it from the top with the wick and not remove the solder that you actually need for the bottom pad, where you are actually wanted to get solder. Alright, that looks good again. Alright, so let me just make sure they're all nice and secure. And by doing this in here, also we're letting it cool down, which is, very important before you clean. You don't want to come with a cold liquid right away. So you want to make sure it's not fully warm before you do that, because you know the impact on the temperature will again create damage or break the solder, and you don't want to do that. So that's what I usually do. I know now it's 100% cold. Use this brush in an angle. Oop, let me now get out, because otherwise I'm too close to see with the microscope. I don't really need it for this, but I like always to see what I'm doing. And this is MU Chemicals 4140A flux remover. It works really good. It leaves no residues. I hope I don't get another batch of bad chips trying to help this guy. And the problem is, you know, removing the installer too many times is also put a stress on the board. I like these little cans of electronic duster. It works really good for drying up your electronics. And that's it. That's nice and clean. Put the rest of that fluid back where it belongs. I like to use those little cups too. It makes it a lot easier for me to apply it. All right, so now the moment of truth. Let me plug this here. Oh, I need a scanner as well, right? Let me put my laptop away. I don't want to put anything on top of my MacBook. Ooh, I love this thing. I can now finally have a laptop that fits in my backpack, even though this is the 16-inch. A lot of people says like, oh yeah, this is not to carry on. I love it. I take the laptop with me everywhere. It's nice because I can, if I do any videos, I can edit it right away. You guys know that I don't do much post processing of my videos. Probably a little bit about color grading, and but I'm trying to keep focus on what I'm doing, make sure that what I'm saying is correct, not to cut anything from the videos, and it has been working so far. It's very good. I put this in here. I put it in an angle so we can both see. Just dust it out a little. This is still off. Let me. Oh, I have to turn it on in here. 0.29, 0.3, 0.29. We'll see. All pins, everything looks pretty good. Alright. Hopefully you guys can see right here it's 0.31. See if the out of the deck works. Just waiting for, see if it connects. I can also check the fiber reference right at that coil. That will tell me if it's any communication or not, but I want to, for the video, show that as well. Let's do that in the meantime. This is trying to communicate. Actually, I did, so we don't need to. Okay, that's good. Nissan, standalone. I'm happy. Oh, so good. I got good products. That's the correct clear number. This is good, guys. After the fifth attempt, it worked out. Thank you so much. I'm going to give a very good recommendation to the seller to sell me those chips. Again, this is 2007 Nissan Xterra SSN 50 2007, right? So North American. We got to do a diagnosis, control unit. We got to select. We only have the engine computer, so engine. Again, this is Liem. I'm going to put the cover, which I have here. You guys can see that is still his computer. Oh, I'm gonna have to. That's his name. You guys can see that, and there's the cover for the computer. So I'm gonna put that here. But yeah, Liam, your computer is good to go. I have now communication. I will be contacting you shortly. But this is very good news. Again, it was just a bad batch of chips. I dump it all in the garbage, except for the steel, which I am going to do right now. Oop. And then save these ones for future reference. But yeah, things you need to do: check ECU information, make sure, yeah, that's the correct ECU part number. I'm gonna put this. I have separate bins for different computers. Try to mark everything as I go, but I like to keep it in here. That keeps the moisture out. I got all the silica packages in there too as well. That keeps moisture away. That's you know, even components has lifetime. I mean, I think it's 1 year, 2 years, depends on the chip. Live data. Let's just do main signals. We don't have to really see. I mean, nothing is connected, but we are having communication. The only reason I do this, I want to make sure the computer logic is okay. And yes, we have 5 volts in the TP1. Yep, air fuel rate sensors are reading correct. Minus 49 on the intake temperature. Sorry, actually that's intake. Yeah, intake air temperature. All right, so that's good. And if we go over to codes, we're going to have a whole bunch of codes, which is again good. Nothing is connected. You want to make sure the computer can set up codes. And since this customer is local, I'm just going to call him, tell him to pick it up and plug it into his car. That's it. So we're good to go. All right, guys. I hope that this is a test for some other guys that were putting comments on the first video. Well, yeah, this is the repair. I am very comfortable on my testing on what I do. Again, I don't show the whole repair because I am now looking forward to show you 100% how to fix a computer. You have a computer like this, you need to fix, send it to me. I can definitely fix it. It's not a problem. I hope I'm in the camera. Yeah, but don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.